Welcome to the channel. My name is Marco, and we are back with another episode of
Hot Comics,
a series where each week I pick 5 comics that I think are must-haves that you should be adding into your collection if they're not in there already, or maybe even grabbing multiple copies of, because these books are either hot or will be going up, and it's always, as I always say, be ahead of the curve. Now, before we pick out the 5 books, but I already picked them out, but before I talk about the 5 books, which by the way, if you haven't gathered by the title, it's Armor Wars related. But first, let me tell you about my giveaway. I'm giving away 3 awesome comic bundles at 500 subscribers. That's right, 3 lucky subscribers will each win one of these 3 comic bundles. All you have to do to enter is simply be subscribed and leave a comment on this video. If you would like additional chances to win, you can watch other videos on my channel and leave comments on those as well. Each comment on a new video is another chance to win. Good luck. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, I have 5 books picked out for you. All books that I think you need to pick up before Armor Wars comes out. Now, some of these will be kind of speculative, and some of these are just solid books that are just, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be going up in value. We've seen recently as like Hawkeye #1, the first solo Kate Bishop series. That book I talked about quite a while ago being a nothing. You could get that book for like $8, and now it's like I think a $50 book. So these #1, solo titles are solid books. They're gonna go up in value. And the first one I want to talk about today is War Machine #1. Now this is a sweet cover. It's a nice foil. It can be, since this foil can be kind of hard to find in pretty good condition. You have a lot of very noticeable spine ticks and stuff. I managed to snag one that's not too bad. I think, yeah, that one's off getting graded. I sent back forever ago. Now, this book right now you can find for maybe $10, but it won't be that way for too long. I have the feeling it'll be the same thing. Now, granted, I know Kate Bishop is going to be a new hero. War Machine's been around, but again, War Machine's never been the focus. So people are still going to find new books to speculate and increase the price on. And on top of that, this is a beautiful cover. Always a big fan of foils here, and it's a Wiasek cover, a Bob Wiasek. I don't know if that's how you say his name. That's how I say his name. I could very well be wrong, but I love Wiasek covers. I have that one. I have, actually the last book that I'm going to be talking about today is a Wiasek cover, and I have a Man-Thing cover that's a Wiasek cover, #1 Volume 2, and they're just amazing, beautiful covers, very simplistic in the art style, but very bold as well, and I really... They're some of my favorite covers, honestly. But again, this book, dirt cheap, a little hard to find. This book doesn't pop up all the time. Might be a good eBay book. Just, grab a bunch on eBay. Like I said, they're dirt cheap. You're probably going to find some imperfections on them, but you might find that, that gem in the rough and get you a really nice copy of it for next to nothing. The next book I want to talk about is Invincible Iron Man 120, and you can get this book for about $20, and this is going to be a first appearance of Justin Hammer. Now, this is a speculative book, so, feel free to invest in it at your own discretion, but, Marvel has a good track history of killing off its villains and antagonists. I guess Hammer's not a straight up villain, but he could be. He always could be. But he's, definitely an antagonist, and I quite enjoyed Iron Man 2. I know a lot of people don't for some reason, but especially Justin Hammer I thought was just the perfect mix of, you love to hate him because he's just so slimy and despicable, but I enjoy his presence in the movie. With that being said, he was in prison or something in that one shot, the All Hail the King one shot, but other than that, he's still around. He could very well be out by now, possibly, maybe, I don't know what his sentence was or whatever, but yeah, he could be out of prison now, and if he is, he's probably up to, making some Iron Man knockoffs. So that'd be a great character to bring back for Armor Wars, I think, because Armor Wars is all about people making knockoff Iron Man and Iron Man getting mad about it. Now, obviously, Iron Man's not here, but War Machine's going to be taking care of it. And so I think Justin Hammer, while though not necessarily saying he will be the main antagonist, I think because in Armor Wars it's all kinds of people, but I think there's a good chance of him coming back and reprising his role, just to have some familiarity. And like I said, I really enjoyed his character. I thought the actor, I don't know his name, but I thought he did a great job of being this just super cocky tech guy that, wasn't all that good at what he did, actually. But moving on to Invincible Iron Man 118, just a couple issues before this one. Have a pretty good price jump here. We're at about $60 for a good copy of this book, and that's because this book is the first roadie, and I love this cover. It's a book I've wanted for a while. We got one in the shop, and I was so excited. I thought it was going to be mine, and it looked pretty clean, and then it had a big hole, kind of. It was like something fell on it and like just punctured a hole through the whole book. And other than that, the book is like in great condition, and it's so sad to see. But the hunt is still on. I still really want this book. It's a book I've wanted for a while now. Like I said, absolutely beautiful cover, and it's first roadie. So definitely a win, and definitely a book that I foresee, like this one, is like a no-brainer, right? This book will be going up. Do I have any? Yeah, okay. 1, 2, I have 3 of the books on this list. That's not too bad, I guess. But just missing a couple. But yeah, 118. That's a book you should get without question. I think, especially if you're a War Machine fan, if you're an Iron Man fan, it is a great key to have. And if you're excited for the Armor Wars series, or even you're not, if you're just speculative about the Armor Wars series, I think it's a must-have book. Moving on to Tales of Suspense 69. Now this is the first appearance of Titanium Man. Now this is an older book, and you might be able to get you a rough copy for like $30, but a good copy is going to run you about $100. And the weird speculation for why I think Titanium Man might be in there. They had some concept art back in, I think it was Iron Man 2, for a Titanium Man suit, and it looks quite different than his comic version, but they even made an action figure of it because the action figure companies get all these designs and everything way before the movie's actually gonna get done. And or actually that might have even been, I think, for the Iron Man movies, they started just using all their extra designs because they're just going to make more toys anyway. I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was an earlier. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was just like an additional thing they tacked on. It's like, oh, Iron Man's hot, because at that time, all the MCU was Iron Man. So, so they put out that design. He's like, here's another toy to sell, and it is a really cool design, and I really like it. And I think it would be super cool for them to use that exact design. I don't think they need to throw it away. They have a perfectly good it doesn't really look like the comic version, but it's green, and it's a pretty cool, basically brand new design. Not really, if anything, it kind of reminds me more of Guardsman, I think. But for the most part, it feels pretty unique, and I really like that design. I always have. I have that figure somewhere, I think, in my basement, but it's just a figure that I got and I thought was cool, and I was like, man, that's kind of a cool little what-if moment, if we got to see that character, and especially that design in a movie, and maybe now we can finally, after all these years, see it in Armor Wars, potentially. Be a good spot to bring him in. Like I said, Armor Wars in the comics should be about a whole bunch of different people using Iron Man knockoffs, but they could go a different route and make it just like one person or something. Or maybe, I don't know. Who knows at this point? We have very little details. But again, that one's a big speculative piece. And it's an older book. So it's going to run you a bit more money for a good copy. But at the same time, I think it's a big sleeper. Just in case, this might just pay off in a big way. So just throwing that out there. And then the last book, this is a definite must-have, no-brainer. This was actually one of the earliest slabs I ever got, and it is Iron Man 282, A raw copy is going to cost you about, in good condition, about $100 or so. This is an absolutely, again, Bob Wiacek cover. Amazing, beautiful, iconic cover of War Machine. This is the first cover of War Machine. Keep in mind, though, if it matters to you, this is not Rhodey in the armor. This is when Iron Man first, or Tony Stark rather, first debuted his War Machine armor in a couple, like the issue or a couple issues before, I forget. And then this is the first cover appearance of Tony Stark in the War Machine armor. It wasn't until much later that Rhodey decided to take that as his own armor. So this is Tony Stark, but regardless, it doesn't matter. This is an amazing, amazing, amazing War Machine cover. When you think of War Machine and you're putting a comic with it, this is probably going to be the one, because it is beautiful. It is stunning. Like I said, this was one of the first comics I got, and one of the first slabs I got, rather, because it was just, I had to have it. This was way before I knew anything about Armor Wars or had any thought that this book might go up at all. I just wanted it because it's an absolutely beautiful cover, and I think as we keep getting closer and closer to Armor Wars coming out, this is going to be the cover. This is going to be the book that people are going to want. And, you know, market is kind of dictating that right now. Like I said, first, Rhodey's not that expensive. This isn't that, I mean, it's almost double the price, but still at $100 is a pretty fairly reasonable book. And this one being the big book, potentially, for the series. Again, we have no idea who all is going to be in there, but potentially this is the big book. And at $100, yeah, get in there. Like, get that. That is a sweet, sweet book. Honestly, if I found another one, I might even buy it, because my copy is only an 8.5, and I wouldn't mind getting a higher grade, honestly. But it's getting hard. I mean, it's not an easy book to find. All these Iron Man books, I'm a big Iron Man fan. It's been hard for me to pick up Iron Man keys, because as at the shop, Pops Comics that I work at, we've been picking up new collections. We've picked up several collections now, the last one being like 50 long boxes, and no one collected Iron Man, and that's just how it was, apparently. I grew up liking Iron Man. I know Iron Man still wasn't even really a big thing until the movie came out, but I'd always liked Iron Man. I'd always liked War Machine. I don't know why. I just remember I had those little metal figurines. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but if you stepped on one of those, you'll remember, because they were not fun. And but yeah, those things were super painful. But I remember having the Iron Man and the War Machine. I played with those things all the time. I really loved those figures. I don't know why. I mean, apparently no one else in the world really liked Iron Man, but I always did. And so, you know, I was so hyped, by the way, when Iron Man came out, and I was like, oh, sweet. Super excited for that, and it turned out to be an amazing movie, and that was awesome. But regardless, War Machine is what we're talking about. But yeah, it's hard. I think it's just hard to find Iron Man keys. I really, you know, like we've got multiple, you know, X-Men 221, for example. We have probably like 10 copies of that book in the shop right now, and it is a big book. It is a super high spec book. Not super high, like crazy in price, but like the spec on that book has been getting crazy lately. And, you know, we have a ton of them. And it's just like, you know, X-Men was pretty popular. Everyone knows that. But just to see how difficult it's been to get any Iron Man keys in at all. The Iron Man 120 that I picked up was just something that was sitting up at the shop. That's probably been sitting up at the shop for years now. The 282 I bought off eBay. Like I said, we did get one copy of 118, but it had a big hole punctured through it, so we'll still count that as, you know, we found one. And then the War Machine one I did pick up at the shop as well. But I mean, for the most part, these books aren't out there kind of just every day popping up. So if you see one and you're interested and it's a good price, I would recommend picking it up, because like I said, there's a few on the list here, and even the ones that I do have are books that I wouldn't mind picking up higher grades of. So, and I think some of these are crazy undervalued. I really do. I like Don Cheadle a lot. I have high expectations for the series. 282 is a beautiful cover. War Machine 1 is a beautiful cover and worth nothing right now. I really think that is the book, like, that's going to be one of the just craziest jumps in price, because it's just a solid cover. But that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a like. It really helps me feel better about my life. No, I'm joking. I'm doing good. But it does, I do like to see the little likes go up. Leave me a comment, talk about Armor Wars. There's a lot of potential keys. We could be talking about Crimson Dynamo. I know number 1 on him was crazy expensive, but you have Guardsmen and this and that and whoever. All these different characters could be popping in Armor Wars, but we have so little information, and obviously it is going to be significantly different than the comics, so it's really hard to speculate what to pick up for Armor Wars other than good War Machine keys. And there's other good War Machine keys that I didn't mention out there. So if you have some, go ahead and talk about them in the comments. That'll enter you into the giveaway too. But that's going to be it for today. I will see you all Wednesday with my comic pulls for the week.